Oh my god. Oh boy, it's gonna be a loose one. Welcome back to the Retro Craptacular podcast, where each month we continue our search for the best bad movies on the planet Earth. I am your host, Aaron, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt, who's feeling like a prank star today.
Ooh, I think
Feeling a bit loose?
overtired is the is the real. No, let's go with loose. I like that.
Yeah.
Or do I? No, that sounds bad. Let's go with overtired.
All right. You managed to stay awake through the entirety of the...
I mean, yeah, it was riveting.
Oh.
It was gripping. I was on the edge of my love seat.
Yeah.
You were on the other edge.
I was on the other edge. It's a pretty small love seat.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of...
Seat,
seat.
but so much love.
But we'll get to that in a second. How are you?
Not too bad. Well, I'm sick, but not too bad. I have been ill lately, which means lots of time for watching shit. I don't know what it is about being sick and like having a sick day, but I often watch stuff that's just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense given that I'm part of this podcast. But
You just don't want your brain to work too much
I
when you're
guess
sick,
that's what
right?
it is. Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna get into something cerebral or something that I care deeply about because I don't want to feel things either. It's got to be some junk, and honestly, superhero shit is usually the way I go.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I went on the old D+,
Yeah.
and watched some garbage Marvel stuff that I had not seen. Well, one good thing, I watched Werewolf by Night, or Werewolves by Night?
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf
Yeah.
by Night.
Yeah.
Which was just fun.
It was kind of fun.
I enjoyed it. It was great. But then I watched all of She-Hulk.
Yes.
And you know, Charlie Cox just couldn't quite save it for me. I love him. I love that he's still Daredevil, that they didn't recast him. He did such a good job.
That was the best episode of the show.
Yeah, he's great. But then like, I mean, I don't know how much we want to just get into She-Hulk, but it was just bad. Like, it was bad. It was not good. No, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they took the self-aware meta-ness of the character from the comic books and brought it into the show to the point where she literally goes to visit Kevin, the AI that creates all the Marvel content. And I'm like, boy, is this timely.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's like,
It's kind of felt strange.
Did anyone at Disney watch this show? Do they realize they're the villains of their own show? No?
Yeah,
No? Okay.
no.
That was fun. It fell a little flat, because while it's funny that they acknowledge that they kind of just have a paint-by-numbers approach to the content that they've churned out.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't stopped.
Yeah.
They're still just doing it.
Which honestly makes it a bit worse.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we know.
We know. And you're going to eat it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just like they're making you dollar store brand mac and cheese, and now they're just spitting in it before they give it to you.
Yeah, actually, that does, yeah.
Like now there's
Jeez.
contempt behind it. Before it was just like, look, it's dollar store mac and cheese. You want it or not, just eat it. And now it's like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like I saw you spit in it. Like, yeah? You gonna just let it go to waste? Like, I guess not.
Oh my gosh.
I guess I'll just eat the...
And I guess, in case people in the future, hello future people, are
Hello.
listening to this is during the time of a rather historic writer's strike.
And actors strike.
And actors strike.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Streaming is a very big part of it. And
Yeah. If you're listening to this, it means that we won.
oh,
The war against the machines.
right.
If you're not, then hey,
Then you're good.
we had a good run.
If you're not listening to this, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What we say.
Yeah. So
That's my philosophy on our podcast.
pretty much, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Someone could be calling you an asshole right now. You'd never know.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure there is. And that's fine.
Yeah, because you don't know. Doesn't bother you.
My eye started twitching. Anyway,
It's good. It's good to do physical.
physical comedy on a
Yeah.
podcast. Love it every time. Yeah, so there was that. And it was tough. It was sucky too, because I felt like She-Hulk could have gone more strongly in the direction of like exploring what it is to be female and superhero,
Right.
especially with just like the way that Black Widow's been treated in the vast majority of the movies.
How
But
do
it
you
was
mean?
over sexualized.
Oh,
But
yeah,
there
yeah,
you go.
She's
and,
such a
like-
poser.
Such a oh god. Yeah, but it was just kind of it was background, you know? It was like you know, in the show, Jen, She-Hulk, like her assistant asks like what the best things are about being a superhero. I don't remember the exact line, but she said like something 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 something, but then also being able to walk home at night with headphones on and feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And her assistant said that's the dream, like that's every woman's dream. And I was like, yeah, I feel like maybe we could explore that a little bit more in the media, but instead
No
Jen's too
time.
busy trying to be Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
And but anyway,
Yeah, no time to actually, get into the meat and bones of it. We gotta stay on the surface. That's where Marvel operates.
on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure that the exterior is nice and shiny, so that they don't, you don't find out how rotten and rusty the insides are.
Kevin.
It's Kevin. Yeah, I watched it when it came out, and then completely wiped it from my mind, and it's just disposable.
Well, I'm surprised you watched it when it came out. I didn't expect anyone to. Yeah. But on that note, anything interesting you've been watching lately?
Yes.
Oh.
I took part in the cultural phenomenon that has been sweeping our nation.
So you started playing pickleball.
No, I did, and I skinned my knee, and I was like, "Fuck this." I'm going back. I'm getting back in my lane. I'm staying in my lane. I'm going to go to the movies, and I'm going to take part in this other cultural phenomenon known as Barbenheimer.
Oh, did you watch both?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the same day.
On the same day?
Back
Is
to
that what
back.
people have been doing?
Yeah,
Which one's first?
Oppenheimer.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say, there's only one way to do that in my mind.
I don't know if it's good,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know if the other way would be any better.
I just feel like if one is darkly serious and the other one is darkly funny, then do the funny one after.
As a palate cleanser, I
Yeah.
guess so. I guess, yeah.
Okay, but yes, tell me about Barbenheimer experience.
So this was my day. This was my anniversary celebration with my partner.
Oh.
This
Cute.
is what we decided to do. So 10 a.m.
Okay.
we went to see Oppenheimer in IMAX
At 10 a.m.
at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was
Hoochie
sold
moochie.
out. 10 o'clock on a Monday morning.
And it was sold out?
And it was sold out.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. They're because this was one of the few screens in North America that was showing it in 70 millimeter film projection.
Oh.
Like, I can't remember the last time I saw something in film projection, and I was like, the text on the screen's kind of wobbling a bit.
Huh.
Is that supposed to happen? Right. There's this film.
Wild.
Weird. I think the last thing I saw projected on film was Skyfall.
Wow, that was a while ago.
Yeah, there was a theater that I used to go to all the time when I was in college, and like they were closing down, and so I drove back to the city to like go see a movie there one last time before they closed down, and I think it was Skyfall.
Wow.
But yeah, so I mean, it's awesome. I haven't seen a film in IMAX that was shot for IMAX in I I don't even know. I'm trying to remember now, but it's like when it is the full IMAX ratio, it is 3 stories tall. It is
Jeez.
floor to ceiling screen.
Yeah.
It's not entirely in that aspect ratio. It jumps around a bit, which bothered me.
Of course.
But Des didn't even notice apparently. But I was like, why? And sometimes with like within the same scene.
Oh, odd.
Yeah, like he'll do the establishing shot in wide IMAX and then cut in to a shorter aspect ratio for the close-ups and stuff. But then sometimes there are close-ups that are in IMAX, and I'm just like,
That seems like the kind of thing that would bother you incessantly.
like what? Like you just trying to save film? Like is that it? Like you just didn't have enough film to do it all?
Didn't have enough millimeters.
I guess not. Like I don't know. It seemed weird. Yeah, like and then yeah. That's neither here nor there. But the movie's incredible. I really 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 dig it.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna sweep a lot of the Academy Awards this year, I think.
Oh.
There's 3 or 4 acting nominations for sure.
Wow.
2 of them might be competing for Best Supporting Actress, because I don't know if you could call Emily Blunt's role a leading role. And both her and Florence Pugh give very, very good performances.
I believe it.
But there's 3 for sure, potentially 4 acting nominations there.
Wow.
Robert Downey Jr. is brilliant in it. Cillian Murphy's brilliant in it. The cinematography is insane.
I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, but like it's a very depressing, serious.
I mean, yeah.
Drama
That's a
about
given.
Guilt
Hmm.
ultimately.
Yeah.
And then after that, then you go and you watch a movie about a toy, and it's like the tonal whiplash that you experience
I can only imagine.
is so real.
Oh gosh.
Um,
Is it too? Was it like how did it negatively impact your viewing of Barbie to have come out of Oppenheimer?
no, I mean we had enough time in between, so we saw a 10 a.m. showing that took us to like 1 o'clock. It was a 3-hour movie.
Oh.
And then we didn't have to be back at the theater till about 3:40 was when we got our Barbie
Okay.
tickets for. So we had a bit of time in between to like decompress and talk
Yeah.
about the movie and have some lunch. And then
Spiral a little bit.
head to the theater for Barbie. And I mean, out of the 2, I would say I liked Oppenheimer more.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think that was ever going to be really in doubt.
Okay.
'Cause I'd say like I'll say this before I go into my review of Barbie.
Okay.
It's obviously not for me.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not aimed at me at all. And that's fine because I have literally every other movie. As a man. I have literally every other movie that I can watch. But I still enjoyed it. There was I think my biggest complaint about Barbie, honestly, is that it's just not that funny.
Oh, really?
Like it's a cute movie, and like I totally get why it's as successful as it is. Like it is a very well made movie, and especially for young-ish girls, I wouldn't take super young kids to it because it is not really aimed at kids. Like I think it's rated PG-13.
Okay.
Um, I would say maybe 10 and up is kind of when you can start maybe explaining to your young daughter that the world isn't made for her. And yeah. Yeah, so but for me, like the story and everything totally works
Okay. Yeah.
for the most part. I have a couple like tiny little nitpicks that whatever. But yeah, for me it's just like the jokes aren't that funny. There are some there are some good jokes, some very good jokes, but there's a whole bunch of other jokes that just kind of
Like they didn't land, or like they just
yeah.
weren't funny to you, or like
No, like I didn't even hear that much laughter in the theater when we were watching it.
That's weird. It comes across as a movie that would be extremely funny.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a Zack Snyder's Justice League joke that is gonna age like milk.
Oh.
Like it is not gonna be funny, and like it's already kind of not that funny because Zack Snyder's Justice League is kind of
Yeah.
like it's just out of the mindset right now
I certainly don't think about it.
for sure. Yeah, so like that's not gonna age super well. There is a very funny joke though where they get one of the Kens to explain the movie The Godfather to them in detail to distract him. Yeah. So that was kind of it for me. And then also there's like this whole subplot with like the executives from Mattel trying to get Barbie and Ken back into Barbie Land, and it's played by Will Ferrell, and he's like hamming it up real big and doing like a big goofy thing, and I'm like, I don't think that's the energy that this point or this part needs. Like I think you need to cast like Michael Douglas.
Who's that again?
Hank Pym.
Oh, right.
You need, I think you need to play that bit straight, because everything else is kind of wacky and kooky, and to have like a wacky kooky, he's not even the antagonist really. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but he's like it's like an afterthought kind of his part, but and it's played like all kind of wacky and kooky, and I'm like, nah, I feel like this needs a straight man. Need like a Michael Douglas, or I don't know, Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise is very funny though also.
That's true, he is.
But yeah, I don't know, for some reason Michael Douglas is the actor that keeps popping into my head.
Oh, well.
Or like John Goodman could maybe do a good take on it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you mean though. If the setting is very wacky, and then like
George Clooney.
oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
Then yeah, just having a wacky character on top of it.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like everything that takes place in the real world shouldn't be kind of zany and kooky, and it sort of is. And that's the other thing is I don't know if having Barbie go to the real world is like the best way to do it.
Yeah, I didn't know that happened.
So I don't know. I have mild complaints about it, but again, it's clearly not made for me, and it didn't not work enough for me to like not really enjoy it.
Yeah, you said you still enjoyed the movie.
I did enjoy my time there. It was good. I don't know if I'd rush out to theaters to see it again. You know.
We'll see how the experience of Oppenheimer earlier in the same day.
Yeah. But see, Oppenheimer, I would definitely go out to see in theaters again. I would like to see it in IMAX again. One more time if I could before it leaves theaters, because like when am I going to have that opportunity again?
Right.
You know. So anyways, it's a very weird social experiment kind of to do. I don't know if it's successful or not, but it's not. there's a lot of worse ways to spend a day. So
True. But, well, yeah. That's
I
fair.
I enjoyed my day as a whole. I'll put it that
That's
way.
good. That's good. I don't think that I will be participating in this social experiment. But interesting to hear how it went from your perspective.
Well, I'll be interested to see if this kind of thing has legs at all outside of like the first couple weeks of them being in theaters.
Kind of seems like it wouldn't, but
Yeah, I don't know either. Like, are there going to be like Barbenheimer festivals?
Festivals?
Well, like, you know how like they'll do like, I mean, this is just one movie, but people will put on like Lebowski Fest. Like you dress up like characters from The Big Lebowski, and they make White Russians, and then you go see
Right.
Big Lebowski. Like, are people gonna do like Barbenheimer Fest, where like you show up in costume and hand you a coffee and a black coffee and a cigarette, and you go watch Oppenheimer, and then you come out, and then there's like pink lemonade mimosas and like cupcakes, and then you go watch Barbie.
That would be. No, I still can't imagine. I still can't imagine watching those two movies back to back. Like, can't do it.
Yeah, I kind of don't think it'll have legs too much, because I mean, a lot of people have been bringing up that The Dark Knight and Mamma Mia came out on the same day.
I didn't know that.
The Dark Mama.
The Dark Mama.
But I'm like, yeah, but that was 2008. Like, Twitter was not really I think it was around, but it was not Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way it is today. There's
2008, people were still using Facebook.
Yeah. There was there's no TikTok memes going around.
Certainly not.
So I don't know. I certainly wasn't aware of the Dark Knight Mamma Mia thing back in 2008, because I was like laser focused on seeing the Dark Knight.
Of course.
So but I don't know if that was really a thing that was talked about. So it'll be interesting to see if that kind of sticks around past the meme phase. I kind of don't suspect it will, but
time will tell.
Yeah.
As we like to say on the Retrocraptacular podcast.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll be talking about Barbie one day.
Maybe.
We're
talking about it right now. So.
We are talking about it right now.
No.
I'm afraid of...
Today is that day.
I guess it is.
What are you afraid of?
As always, we're constantly in fear of Hollywood learning the wrong lessons from success.
Oh.
They've already announced that Lena Dunham is going to be directing a Polly Pocket movie.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, cool. You got less good Barbie directed by less good Greta Gerwig. Wow.
To try to make the same amount of money from less money.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say about feminism again. I already watched all of Girls.
Yeah.
Let me say, it just didn't do a lot for the cause.
You know, in Holland, Polly Pockets are called bichenios. But
That's
to an
fun.
English speaker, if you ignore the fact that the T is mitching, it does look like bitch and hose.
Well, great. Maybe I need to make a trip to Amsterdam when Polly Pocket comes out so I can see Bitch and Hose
Bitch and hose in theater.
in theater. That's fun.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that. Cool. Yeah, so that was my weird experience.
That sounds weird.
Fun day, but again, I don't know if it's worth repeating. I don't know if I recommend it.
Yeah, it sounds like a bad idea.
I'm glad I saw both. And I will say this about Barbie. I think the Barbie movie is about as good a version of a Barbie movie as you could ever get.
Interesting.
I think it is, aside from the fact that like some of the jokes didn't quite land for me. Execution-wise, plot-wise, casting-wise, everything. Ryan-wise, certainly. Look, he's so good. He's so good in it.
He is.
So funny. But it is about as good of a movie that you could make about Barbie as you could ever hope to get. Because it's a bad idea. Making a movie about Barbie is a bad idea.
I mean, it seems like a stronger idea than making the Emoji Movie,
Certainly.
but I guess
But that's also a bad idea.
yeah, that's true, yeah. I never saw it, of course, but
But I mean, like, I guess they took a look at the Lego movie,
which had no business being as good as it was.
should not work, but managed to be really great. And I think maybe that is kind of the approach they should have taken a bit more with it. As opposed to having Barbie come into the real world, like maybe have it all take place in Barbie Land, but then, I mean, but then you're just ripping off the Lego movie, so I don't know. But what I liked about the Lego movie is you watch this whole, you watch this character go on this adventure, and then at the end, you realize that it's like been this kid playing this whole time,
Yeah.
building Lego the way he wants to play with Lego, which is just, build stuff from his imagination and have fun and unlimited creativity. And then his dad is the one that's like, no, there are rules and a system and a set of instructions, and you build it according to the instructions, and you follow the rules, and you crazy glue them all together so that they can never be taken apart at the end. And then he shows his dad that actually there's more than one way to play with Lego. Each way of playing with Lego is valid. And then they go have Taco Tuesday.
Wow, you remembered so much more about the ending of that movie than I did.
I love the Lego movie.
It's good.
I think it's fucking brilliant. Again, because it shouldn't be. Like, the fact that it works at all is amazing.
It's true.
So, like, I don't know, maybe Barbie could have taken more of that kind of approach, but then I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a good take on Barbie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I never played with Barbies, and I don't ever really, like, my cousins or girls, and like I don't remember them playing with Barbies either, really.
I definitely did
kid.
play with Barbies.
I didn't have, yeah. I had Barbie-sized Max Steel figures.
Oh, Max Steel. I forgot about Max
and
Steel.
Action Man.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had Jasmine growing up. That was one of the most memorable Barbie dolls.
Oh, like from Disney?
Yeah.
Princess Jasmine? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't get any of those licensed Barbies.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
NSYNC doesn't show up.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I was kind of hoping they might.
Rip off.
Yeah. Oh, the other standout from this movie, besides Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, is Michael Cera.
Oh, what?
Michael Cera plays Alan.
Alan?
He's Ken's buddy.
Oh my
and
gosh.
all his clothes fit him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was like a very failed action figure from the 60s or 70s or something like that. They tried to give Ken a buddy.
Wow.
And you could swap clothes with Ken and Alan. They're totally interchangeable. And
Cute.
yeah. Yeah, and he's the only one. Like, there's so many other Kens, right? There's like 30 Kens in the movie.
Nice.
And there's 30, 60, 100 Barbies in the movie.
Right. But just the one Alan?
But just the one Alan. Oh, and there is a Skipper.
Skipper?
Yeah. It was the babysitter doll.
I don't remember that at all either.
Yeah. So they do a good job of going into, like, the back lore of Barbie. I only know this stuff because I watched the Toys That Made Us episode about Barbie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I was watching, I'm like, oh, I remember them talking about Alan. Yeah, that was funny.
That's cute.
So it's clear that obviously, like, Greta Gerwig played with a lot of Barbies when she was a little girl.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone else listening has done the Barbenheimer, let us know.
Yeah.
How did that go for you? What state is your mind in after such an experience? Tweet at the show on Twitter or email us on email.
Yeah.
I don't remember our handles.
Oh, it's at RetroCrapPod on both. Gmail.com and then, at RetroCrapPod on Twitter and Instagram.
Nice. Don't Instagram us.
That's weird.
That's weird.
Anytime we get an Instagram DM, I'm like, someone watching the show, and it's always like, "Hey, baby, I've
Oh,
missed you," and I'm like, "No, you haven't.
you haven't missed me at all.
Shut up. You don't know. You don't even know me."
Where I'm from. What my
What
sass
my
factor
sass
is.
factor is, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's my thing that I saw
Well, yeah.
recently.
Yeah, that's big. Cool.
I haven't been watching Secret Invasion. I
Oh, right.
don't really plan on it.
Oh, I've been watching it. It's better than She-Hulk.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite apparently what the reviews say. I think ultimately probably people didn't expect much from She-Hulk. Well, they shouldn't have. But expectations for Secret Invasion would have been way higher.
It should have been real good,
It should be really good. It's fine.
but it's just fine. Yeah.
There were some missed opportunities. Something bad happens in the first one that was unfortunate. But I won't spoil it for you.
Okay. Cool. I don't really care that much. But
Oh, okay. Should I spoil it for you?
sure.
Should I spoil it for everyone?
Yeah. Spoilers.
Ooh, spoilers.
Jump ahead like 30 seconds to a minute if you don't want to get spoiled.
Cool. So, episode 1, Nick Fury comes back to Earth and reunites with his right-hand agent. Well, I always forget the character's name, but I remember this.
Maria Hill.
Yes, Marie Hill, played by Colby Smulders.
Okay. Yeah.
I always remember her human name. Because characters
Human
aren't human.
Keep skipping ahead. We haven't got there yet.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, I take a long time to say things. Anyway, the bad thing that happens is that she dies.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the show as a really good opportunity to actually have her be a fucking character.
Yeah.
Because she's been around for so long and we know so much about her, but she's always kind of a background character.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet, let's get more Agent Hill side by side with Nick Fury. And then she dies. And I was like, that's a wasted opportunity.
And it's actually her. It's not a scroll.
It's actually her. She dies and then she stays dead in her own face. Because Skrulls turn back to Skrulls when they die.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, no. I get like that's how you decided, writers, to make it personal for Nick Fury,
Yeah.
but it already was, and that was unnecessary, and he robbed us of a strong female character that could have gotten more screen time and been explored better.
But this time it is personal for Nick Fury.
Seems like it.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care that much.
That's fair. I think a lot of people have kind of stopped caring about what the MCU is up to in general.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still watch some stuff because, especially when I'm sick. Which is when that's why I watched Secret Invasion. I was sick and I was like, "What's on?"
I think this is the point I'm at with Marvel. I mean, I said when I talked about Guardians 3 that it kind of gave me permission to let go, finally.
Right.
Like, I finished Guardians 3 and I was like, oh, that was the thing I was holding on for. Now I'm done.
Nice.
So for me, from now on, it's going to be like, if I hear that the Marvels is really good, then I'll check it out when it shows up on Disney+.
Right.
I'm not going to support it in the theater.
Yeah.
I don't care that much. I kind of want this type of filmmaking to die.
What do you mean by this type of filmmaking? Like the expanded universe type of filmmaking?
That, I don't think everything needs to be a shared universe. I don't think everything needs to be based on a pre-existing property.
Oh, there's that,
This completely risk-averse approach to filmmaking. IP-driven filmmaking, and the made to please everybody filmmaking.
I feel like, and this is maybe just me reading into it, having no idea what the industry's like at all, but it seems like a larger companies are just afraid to be Star Wars because of what happened in like 7, 8, and 9. Where like,
what do you mean afraid to be Star Wars?
They really divided the fan base.
Yeah.
And then tanked. And there haven't been any other movies.
Star Wars is unique, though, in the way that, like, I don't think anyone will ever be happy with what they're putting. Like, there's always just going to be this section of the fan base that is like, I hate this. This is stupid. Why do you keep ruining the thing that I love? And it's like, maybe because this isn't for you anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there is that part of the fan base that are just terrible human beings.
yeah, and like it's okay if not everything's for you anymore. Like I didn't really like this last season of The Mandalorian. I've liked each consecutive season
There you go.
of The Mandalorian. Successive, I think was the word.
That was the word, but consecutive is better.
Yeah. Um,
Good job.
I've liked it less and less, and like
Yeah.
this one I thought was really bad.
It was a stinker.
And I mean, there's issues in the filmmaking approach to it that I can point to as be like, this is why it didn't work for me. But like, I also have to remind myself that there's a lot of people out there that don't think about that kind of stuff, that just sort
That's
of
true.
take it as the property
Yeah.
and like talk about it as if it's not a thing made by human beings behind closed doors and in sound studios and on computers.
Yeah.
You know, that treat it as like more real.
That's true.
And like, so there's a bunch of people that really, really like The Mandalorian. Think that's like the best thing that Disney's ever done. And I'm like,
That's sad.
it was good when it started, and then it was okay in the second season. It was still pretty fun most of the time.
Some of the time.
Some of the time.
Yeah.
The Ice Spider episode was,
Oh God.
you know. And then the third season is just like, what are you even doing? Like, did you even watch your show?
Yeah.
Did you even watch your show last? Like, what?
Yeah. It was,
What?
Yeah. But yeah, filmmaking is in a really weird spot right now, and I mean, obviously, the strikes are also happening now. And
Yeah, but it's really interesting. Like the superhero movies seem to be doing less and less business.
Mm-hmm.
The Flash. I'll just call it the flop. The Flash is the biggest flop in Warner Brothers history.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
History?
history.
Warner Brothers makes a lot of movies.
Yeah, 100 years of movies, and it's the biggest one.
I didn't know
They
it was a thing.
they would have lost less money if they had just quietly put it out on HBO Max and not said anything really.
Wow. Yikes.
And I don't know what exactly. I mean, I think there's a couple of different things you can point to. I haven't seen it yet. There's probably a couple different things you can point to. The fact that Ezra Miller went nuts a while ago and like
Is it the director or?
is the star.
Oh, the star. Okay.
Like
Went nuts. What do you mean?
kidnapped a woman and her child and was like
What?
holding them hostage in a farmhouse and with like guns and drugs and shit, and like broke into someone's house in Hawaii and like stole a passport and some money, and like
Holy
they
shit.
just had run in after run in with the law
And this was after the movie was filmed?
after they'd shot it.
But
Yeah,
before it was released.
but before it was released.
Oh, boy.
And everyone was like, yeah, there's no way you can roll this person out on a press tour. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't sit him down in a press junket and be like, all right, so let's talk about the kidnapping. Like,
Wow.
first of all, Ezra, I just want to say, love the movie. I think you're great in it. Must have been great working with Michael Keaton again as Batman. That's exciting. Can we talk about the run-in with the law in Hawaii? I'd like to hear more about that. What were you thinking when you broke into that couple's house and threatened to murder them? What was that about?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, you can't roll that
Of course not.
person out on a press tour like that.
Wow. That's so messed up. I did not know about this.
Yeah. They had some sort of mental breakdown, crisis of something or other going on.
Yikes.
They put out a statement that they are receiving help,
Okay.
so that's good. And they were very minimally involved in the press for the movie.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But like that thing has lost like $200-300 million already. Indiana Jones is flopping. Fucking, there's a Blue Beetle movie coming out in like 2 weeks that nobody's gonna see because they're not advertising it.
What the fuck is Blue Beetle?
It's another DC Comics movie.
Oh.
You know, Thor didn't do that well.
Which one?
Love and Thunder.
Oh. Right. Yeah, I think that was an airplane watch for me.
Yeah. So that didn't do very well. Shazam 2 didn't do very well. The last few Marvel movies in theaters have kind of been except Guardians.
Oh.
Guardians did really well.
Is that why DC wanted James Gunn so bad because Guardians was still surviving?
Well, I mean, they got him way before this movie came out.
Oh.
I think they wanted James Gunn because they realized that he was underutilized and underappreciated at Marvel. And after he did the Suicide Squad for them, they realized that he has like a really kind of deep breadth of knowledge of their characters and stuff like that, and was someone that, you know, he did the Suicide Squad for them, which financially was not very well received. Didn't do very well financially, but was very well critically received.
Right.
Peacemaker was very well critically received.
Oh, yeah,
did really good numbers.
Show.
Yeah, so they were like, this guy seems to know a lot about what he's doing, and yeah. But it's interesting that like Guardians did really well. Barbie is doing really well. These are both movies that were not created by an algorithm or a committee. They were created by filmmakers that obviously had a very unique and interesting take and something to express.
Heart and soul.
Yeah. It wasn't a checklist movie. It wasn't made by a body for hire. You know, it feels like a lot of these like Marvel filmmakers, like, your job is to get the film done on time.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah.
We've written it.
It's not an artistic endeavor at that point.
No, but you know, Guardians is one of the only one of these movies that is written and directed by the same person.
Right. Yeah.
I think the last time that happened was probably Joss Whedon on the Avengers.
It's a long time ago.
Avengers and the sequel. I know Taika had a writing credit on Thor, but I don't think he was the sole writer. But you know, Greta Gerwig wrote Barbie with Noah Baumbach.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane. The fact that I see those two people's names in the credits of a Barbie movie that's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Is nuts to me. Fucking mental.
Well.
But, you know, it's weird, right? Like, you give creatives the opportunity to actually express themselves and don't try not to get in their way. You know?
Yep.
If you give them really wide goalposts and say, like, your only job is to score.
Yeah.
I
feel like there's probably a fixation in a lot of different industries and stuff on like data and numbers, and especially the money and the making and like the facts about a thing that was successful. But if the people making about it care about it, the people watching it will know.
Yeah, well, I think it's an intangible thing, right? It's not really a thing that can be tracked by metrics other than looking at these are those types of movies and they've done really well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a thing that like the audience doesn't know going into it, but they go, "Oh, I liked those last two Guardians movies. They were really fun and good and a lot better than Black Widow."
Sorry, your delivery there was impeccable. Black Widow.
Like, what was the worst one?
I forgot that was even a movie.
Yeah, it was. About 4 years too late is what it was.
Well said.
If that, maybe more.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, like that, you know, I think there's just something that the audience can tell, like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
And they might not be going like, this is good because it was written and directed by an auteur filmmaker. They're going like, this was good because I liked it.
Yeah.
And then there's just, you know, some kind of stink on stuff like The Flash and Indiana Jones 5 and Shazam 2. And
I forgot they did an Indiana Jones 5. Got that. That was fucking annoying.
You know, we're trying to podcast here, actually. Yeah, I haven't seen Indiana Jones 5.
Why would you?
I don't know if I will.
Why would you?
Oh, wait till it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's bombing.
Well, of course it is. Like they already tried to revive it with the Skull one.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, that was 10 plus years ago already.
Yeah.
15 years ago, maybe.
So long ago.
We were in high school when that came out.
Yeah, jeez.
But who cares about Indiana Jones?
Old people?
Yeah,
Oh.
like specifically like men over the age of 30. And probably even more so men over the age of 40.
Yeah.
You know, cuz we're both over the age of 30 and neither of us went to see it.
Of course not.
Like I looked at the trailer and I was like, oh yeah, I like Indiana Jones, but that looks bad though.
Yeah. Of course.
Whereas I feel like if I had maybe grown up watching it in the 80s, you know, or a little bit closer to when those movies were coming out, I might be going like, yeah, you know what? One last ride. Let's go. Let's see. Whereas for me, I'm
money
like,
from the old men.
yeah, I'm like,
It's one of the best places to get money from in their defense.
Oh yeah.
But also, fuck them.
But also maybe not,
Yeah.
because like it's been bombing.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares.
No one cares.
Like my partner's like, really? Do you want to go see Indiana Jones? And I'm like, do you want to see Indiana Jones? They're like, not really, but like I'll go if you want to go because I like spending time with you. And I'm like, okay, well, and I'm paying, so I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, maybe we'll go. There was a double feature of Mission Impossible and Indiana Jones at the drive-in, and we were like, oh, maybe we'll go do that. And then we just ended up seeing Mission Impossible because it was the only one we actually were interested in.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
But so I don't know. I'm hopeful that this is gonna maybe we'll have like a repeat of the 1970s here, when studios made too many huge, expensive, grandiose movies, and it completely bankrupted them, and because nobody wanted to see them anymore. Audiences were over it, and they didn't know what to do. So they're like, what if we hired someone from film school to make a movie? We've never done that before. And then you get, you know, THX and The Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon and fucking All the President's Men, like some of the best fucking movies ever made. I don't know what it is. I've been going back to, like, when I go back to like American movies, older American movies, it's movies from like the late 60s and like early to mid 70s that I'm really, really drawn back to. There's just something about them that I'm just like, I'm watching them and I'm like, they don't make movies like this anymore.
Maybe they will again.
Like, I watched this movie called The Driver.
The Driver. About golfing?
No. It's about a guy who drives a car. It's basically Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Or to a lesser extent, Baby Driver.
Okay.
But it fucking rocks, man.
Oh, sweet.
Like, none of the characters have names. They're all like, the driver, the boss, the, you know, this guy, the whatever.
The face.
The waitress, like that kind of thing. And then it's like a tight 90 minutes. The main character says like 15 lines of dialogue in the whole thing.
Wow.
And it's just like this like super gritty crime movie, very simple plot. And I'm like, this is wonderful. There's no scene where they have to stop and explain everything to everyone. Everyone I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I've known what's going on the whole time. Crime. Involving a car, usually. Anyways, so I'm hoping we'll get back to that all their ideas for a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie and a Polly Pocket movie and a fucking Magic 8-Ball movie.
Hungry Hippos. They should make a Hungry Hippos
They
movie.
probably are. Mattel was like, yep, we got 38 projects that we're working on.
Oh my god.
Uno is one of them.
What?
The Magic 8-Ball is one of them.
That wasn't a joke?
No, that wasn't a joke.
They're making a movie about Magic 8-Ball?
Yes.
Is Magic 8-Ball a character?
It's the 8-Ball where you're like, hey, am I going to get laid tonight? And you shake the ball and it's like, outlook not so good.
How do you...
I don't know.
Never mind.
I don't know.
I don't know. I shouldn't have asked.
And then the one other Hot Wheels and Matchbox. Both they're doing both.
Okay.
They're just cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's cars.
It's cars.
The one property that they have that is ripe for making a big budget blockbuster action film, Masters of the Universe.
Oh.
They just announced they canceled that movie.
What?
And I'm like, you fucking idiots are too fucking stupid to be as rich as you are. Like, how did you get as far in life making dog shit decisions like this?
It's a valid question.
Like, you know what we should do? Should we do a movie about the thing that already has 40 years of lore and backstory and characters and a complete world? It's already been built. There's an intact mythology. All we've got to do is put it on the screen and maybe convince an actor to take too many steroids, because there's no way we can find a human that exists that looks like that.
There aren't any bodybuilders like that anymore.
No, they only existed because of steroids.
Yeah.
Or should we do a movie about a card game where you have to only have one card left at the end?
You have to say Uno.
You have to say Uno, or else someone's going to make you pick up two.
I hate it.
And they're like, let's do the card game. Yeah.
The other one sounds like too much reading.
Too much reading. Too expensive. I mean, maybe it's too expensive.
But they're rich.
I get, yeah,
they're rich as shit.
I know, right?
What's too expensive to them?
Well, but if they did a $250
$250? That's way too much money.
$250 million version of He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, would you not be there day one?
Well, it depends on the trailer, but probably.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as He-Man? Who would be a good He-Man cast today?
Oh, does it have to be? Do you have to cast Prince Adam and He-Man as the same person?
It would be more interesting if you didn't, honestly, now that I think about it.
Yeah, okay. Then, in that case, I would cast the guy who plays Reacher in the show Reacher.
I'm not familiar.
Because he's huge.
Oh, okay.
I would cast him as He-Man.
That is kind of a prerequisite. You need someone who's huge.
Yeah. I would cast him as He-Man. He's also not a bad actor either. He can
Nice.
He can act. The other thing is, I guess you could do digital enhanced muscles or a muscle suit or something like that. Combination of makeup and digital.
Yeah.
But I would get him as He-Man, and then as Prince Adam,
David Spade.
No. Why do you always say David Spade?
I don't know. He's hilarious, and I haven't seen him in a long time.
Dude, I guess Prince Adam, like a, I don't want to say Timothy Chalamet, but like that kind of type, like he's like a scrawny little fucking weasel kid.
Yeah.
That would like be, 10 years ago, I would have cast Michael Cera.
Oh God! I immediately pictured him as George Michael Bluth, wearing the muscle costume,
the pink shirt with the huge white collar.
Yeah.
I mean, Man at Arms, Jason Momoa.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah. See, this thing casts itself, and then
but who are we gonna get for Orko?
The guy that did it in the cartoon.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Same with Mark Hamill. Just get Mark Hamill to do the voice of Skeletor.
Fuck yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're getting Magic 8 Ball though. So
okay, I'm sure it'll be good.
I'm sure that's what the executives said back in the 80s when they decided that they were going to make a movie about the moral panic around the tabletop role-playing game as a TV movie of the week. Yeah, we got to go there, buddy. It's been too long.
I forgot why we were here, and it was a good thing.
But no, we watched Mazes and Monsters, and we got to talk about it.
Tom Hanks and his friends get caught up in a deadly game of fantasy.
I am the maze controller.
Until they take it too far.
I propose we play Mazes and Monsters in a real setting. It won't be a fantasy.
Too bad for one of them, because now there's no turning back.
This is only a game.
I know, I killed somebody.
Mazes and Monsters.
But you know what? we need to deal with our inner demons, our
Yeah.
trauma.
Much like Tom Hanks did in the
Yeah.
TV movie of the week, Mazes and Monsters.
And you know how we're gonna deal with that shit?
How are we gonna deal with this shit, Matt?
Well, I think we need to play Dungeons and Dragons
Right now?
right now.
Okay, all right.
Let's do it.
Here we go. I'll roll that's a D12. Let's just.
You gotta get this out of the way.
Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, tell you what. Give me a D20. If we roll a nat 20 on this, we don't have to talk about the movie.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
It was a 19. Fucking ducks.
It's a duck.
Fucking ducks.
Well, still got to talk about Mazes and Monsters.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah.
the only reason anyone thinks about this movie today at all is because it was the acting debut of one Mr. Thomas Hanks,
Yeah. First
America's
credit.
dad.
America's Dad. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Tom
Um,
Hanks.
Seemingly went on to do much better stuff after this.
Didn't take much.
No.
Yeah. This
No.
was. Yeah. Wow. It's so weird. Because like most. I don't know. I feel like most actors I enjoy, I don't know what their first movie was because it's usually something where you.
Well, it's always fun finding out, like, oh yeah, Kevin Bacon's first acting role was. Well, I don't know if it was his first one, but like one of his very first ones was like he was in Friday the 13th, you know, and he gets
Oh.
stabbed through the bed with an arrow kind of thing. And Johnny Depp's first acting role was in Nightmare on Elm Street, and like all that
yeah.
kind of stuff, right? So those kind of
Yeah, some of those are fun.
usually they do like some kind of shitty low budget B movie kind of thing right off the top, and then end up, if they are successful, they end up getting out of that,
Right.
or they get pigeonholed as, oh, you're the horror movie guy, and then you just do horror movies for the rest of your career and
Yeah.
go to every convention, sign photos and stuff.
That's life.
That's life.
But not for Tom Hanks.
But not for Tom Hanks. You wouldn't catch Tom Hanks dead at a convention signing photos.
Would you catch him alive?
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be at the back.
Oh.
Probably wouldn't have that long of a line.
No.
There's people there that's gonna be like, Tom, can you sign, Mr. Hanks? Sorry, Mr. Hanks, can you sign my DVD of The Terminal?
That'd be good.
You know?
Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. Everyone did. I think it was all right. Right? It was okay.
From what I remember,
I haven't
but
seen it
it's
since
been
it
a
came
very
out.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just assume it
Um,
is. Let's be positive.
All right. Before we talk about Mazes and Monsters,
Oh, good.
let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yes.
So for the listeners, the one listener that doesn't know, this is for you.
Hey, Mark. This is
Hi,
for
Mark.
you.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Well, hi, Mark.
So Dungeons and Dragons, right? It's a fun game to play with your friends. It's like football. You could play it in the suit, in the street. It's fun. It's whatever. Anyways, how's your sex life? It's a role-playing game where you assume the persona of a character, and you have a sheet that tells you all of your skills, laid out in a numerical value,
Mhm.
and then you roll a dice.
That is a very interesting way of summing up Dungeons and Dragons.
Anytime you want to do a thing, you roll a dice, and you add the number related to that skill to the number on the dice. It's usually a 20-sided dice.
And
then
the Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master tells you what happened, if you succeeded or not.
Yeah. It is great.
Yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons is fantastic.
you're huge into Dungeons and Dragons.
Very much so,
Way
yeah.
more than me.
Yeah.
I enjoy it on a very casual level.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing it, but I'm not baked in the lore of Dungeons and Dragons the way you are.
Yeah, well, even then, like, baked in the lore, I wouldn't even describe myself as
Dude,
that.
I'm looking at a shelf just full of books.
Yeah, but there is like canon D&D lore that I have no clue.
Okay.
I like to make up my own worlds.
Gotcha.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a fantastic creative outlet. It is a collaborative storytelling
Mm-hmm.
game. That's really what it is. You're telling a story as a group of people.
Yeah.
It's great.
And in the 1980s, when it first kind of came out, late 70s, early 80s,
I think so. Yeah.
kind of. I mean, I guess when the first one was published, I'm not exactly sure, but it was in development for many, many years over the course of, several years, several different iterations of it before Gary Gygax finally settled on Dungeons and Dragons as the.
Yeah, I think the original game required you to also own 2 other different games.
Yeah, well, it started with war games,
Yeah.
which is like really, really intense Risk, basically.
Yeah, that is a good way of putting
It's like
it.
it's like Risk, but way more involved, and usually it's like reenacting famous battles. So like you'd be like the Battle of Waterloo. One of you is the French, one of you is the English, and then there's dice rolling and I don't know the rules to them.
Yeah.
Like that's where it started. Gary Gygax was super into that, and then started developing his own sort of role-playing game based on some of the rules around those, and met up with another guy who he also played war games with, and they got talking, and they would be like phoning each other and flying from different states to go visit each other and writing the rules together and play testing it with their friends, and it was called like chain mail, and then they added magic at one point, and the podcast Do Go On does a very good episode
Oh, nice.
going over the history of Dungeons and Dragons from the perspective of someone who doesn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that could be very helpful.
So it's very easy to understand the story.
Nice.
It's not getting bogged down in minutia that someone who like knows a ton of Dungeons and Dragons might think is important to include.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn about the history of D&D, I think that's actually a very good resource to kind of get a nice overview of the history and development of the game.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. If you just search Do Go On Dungeons and Dragons, it should pop up on Google.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And way back when, it had a real bad rap.
Yeah. So in the 1980s, there was it was the target of probably Tipper Gore, I'm assuming, Al Gore's wife. She was she was the head of the Parents Music Resource Council,
The what?
the PMRC, which was responsible for bringing in the parental advisory explicit content sign that had to go on any album to let you know that it was awesome. And they were big into targeting heavy metal music of the day, right? Like that was the main target, was heavy metal music, and then like a little bit later gangster rap was the next sort of target.
Yes.
And in that, the one of the big sort of talking points that was constantly brought up is that heavy metal likes to use a lot of demonic, satanic, evil sort of imagery and lyrical content in their lyrics, and talk about tearing down authority and not following the rules and all that kind of stuff, and
demonic stuff like that.
It was seen as evil and not something that a good Christian nation like the United States of America should be supporting. So Dungeons and Dragons kind of also took a bit of that heat as well, because there's fucking magic, warlocks,
Monsters.
undead.
Yeah.
I mean, early Dungeons and Dragons had a lot of fighting vampires.
Yeah, it's a good monster to fight.
A lot of fighting vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think back then the notion of casting spells was like, oh, that's witchcraft, that's paganism, that's evil.
Well, and yeah, especially if you look at the original kind of artwork that goes along, like you see a drawing of Mordenkainen in his in his room, and he's got a bunch of candelabras and whatever, candles set up all around him, and he's got an ancient tome out in front of him, and he's on like an altar, and he's conjuring something, and it's like, oh yeah, he's, doing it's ritual spell casting kind of thing, right?
That's true. Yeah,
As opposed to like Gandalf, which is he just does magic with his staff.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings never seemed to draw that kind of attention.
Yeah, because there was magic, there wasn't casting spells. And I feel like there's a flavor difference there in the mouths of the parents of the 80s.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's like Disney magic.
Yeah, magic is great. Casting
bippity-
spells is evil.
Bippity boppity boop.
Yeah.
Which,
did they ever ask
chant
what that means?
transmogrification.
Yeah.
It's turning a pumpkin into a carriage and a rat into a horse or whatever. Mice.
And then the dog was the coachman?
Maybe.
Been a while.
Anyways,
Anyway,
yeah. Same shit that you can do in D&D.
Yeah.
You just don't need spell components.
Yeah.
Spell components are kind of a dumb part of D&D. I was going to say.
That depends on how you use them, in my opinion.
I guess so. I'm glad.
They can be annoying, but
I'm glad that our dungeon master has kind of mostly just ignored them.
yeah, it doesn't really care that much.
Like, do you have a pearl necklace? I don't care, actually. Just sure, do your spell. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, called the Satanic Panic, Dungeons and Dragons was seen as occult and evil.
Yeah.
And
Occult. That was always the big thing.
Yeah.
It's part of the occult,
yeah, which what does that even mean? Really?
I don't know.
What happens if I Google occult?
You're going to listen to Kiss backwards and play Dungeons and Dragons and kill everyone in your school.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing. It's like when, friggin' Mortal Kombat came out and they were like, oh, if your kid plays this, they'll become violent.
Yeah. It's like, no, your kid is just angry at you for not letting them play a video game, so they need to get their frustrations out by playing a video game.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Stop parenting your kids so much, parents.
Wow, occult is pretty vague.
Yeah?
Supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomena.
Mystical?
Mystical.
You could call it, you could say that about Christianity.
Absolutely you could. This is a supernatural belief.
Yeah.
That fits occult. That's what, yeah. Yeah, supernatural, mystical, or magical. And then it's a belief, practice, or phenomena.
Uh-huh.
It's, yeah, that's so vague.
But, okay, but the difference there, Matt, though, is that God is real. but like that's kind of, yeah, wow.
Fun fact, occult is also a verb that means cut off from view by interposing something. The example, a wooden screen designed to occult the competitors.
The Dungeon Master screen. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bunch of bullshit that
Yeah.
that inspired a book that inspired this film.
Yeah, TV movie of the week. Basically, I guess the book was inspired by a true story of a kid that went missing at some university. And the fact that he played Dungeons and Dragons was brought up a lot when talking about why he went missing and where he would have gone.
Which, like, obviously is dumb.
Yeah.
But then, like, that's also how it plays out in the movie. Is that, yeah, he played it, and people talk about it a lot, and it's very little to do with what's actually going on.
For sure. But, I mean, you can draw any sort of correlation between anything, right? Like, when Columbine happened, they were like, they had Marilyn Manson CDs in their... in their room. That's why they killed everyone. It's like, no, maybe they killed everyone because they were bullied constantly for being different and nobody did anything about it and they didn't have any tools to handle the emotions that they were feeling, and they felt completely isolated and alone because no adults would actually listen to their problems. And so they were like, fine, I guess we'll just kill everybody because there's like literally nothing else we can do.
No, it was obviously Marilyn Manson.
It's obviously Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I thought going into it, given, what I knew about the movie and what I knew about the Satanic Panic, I thought that they would, in the movie, really play up Dungeons and Dragons, which obviously they changed the name to Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and Monsters.
If you haven't gotten that yet,
Yeah.
then bravo. You're thick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. And
No, thick in a good way. 2 C's.
Ooh, you're welcome, Mark. I completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I thought they would really play it up more that that them playing Mazes and Monsters was actually like them doing evil shit. But
yeah,
I thought that that they would actually lean into that as part of the narrative, painting the game as something actually evil, which it isn't.
Yeah.
But instead,
honestly, I kind of wish that they had.
It might have been more interesting.
It might have been more interesting.
But it would have been really annoying, too.
It would have been annoying,
Yeah.
for sure. But instead, it's just you have your main character played by Tom Hanks, who clearly has some sort of dissociative mental health disorder.
Yeah.
Or he has a hard time differentiating the game from real life.
Well, yeah, it's even like... It's not even that. It didn't feel like that he had like a problem like telling what was real and what was the game. It was that he had some very serious trauma and some undiagnosed mental illness for sure.
Yeah, oh definitely.
But like his only coping mechanism was escapism into the game where he just became his character.
Yeah.
And like so it like again it felt like it had nothing to do with Mazes and Monsters. Like it could have been any other form of escapism.
Yeah. It could have been video games, it could have been pornography.
Could have been Uno.
Could have been Uno.
Warner Brothers, we have a pitch.
He only has one card left. And when he plays it, it's all over. We need to reach him before he plays that last card. Quick, someone grab me a +4. You can't give him the +4 yet. It's not your turn. Someone reverse the order. Oh,
this movie writes itself.
It writes itself. Quick, open up ChatGPT.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
the movie is actually about these 4 friends. It's Tom Hanks, who is the new kid. He's coming to a new school.
Yeah.
And then we've got...
And his parents are like, don't play that Maze the Monster game too much. Rot your brain and distract you from school.
Yeah, well, we learn as he goes to like a party and he meets his new friends who are all into Mazes and Monsters, is that like he used to play Mazes and Monsters, but he doesn't anymore. And he's coming to this school because he got kicked out of his old school. He was expelled for just like skipping class too much, which is bullshit.
Yeah, you play Mazes and Monsters at night.
Yeah, like as you know, as an adult who plays multiple different games, like scheduling is hard, but it's not like I skip work or something to go play the game.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so it's treated like an addiction is what it is, right? Like that scene could easily be them being like, hey man, you want to go outside and smoke some crack? And he's like, oh no, actually I used to do that. I was a level 9, but I don't do that anymore.
I was the level 9 crackhead, but I need to stop.
And they're like, oh come on, it'll be fun. And they're like, no, seriously guys, I really don't do it. And like they ask him like 5 or 6 times and he's like, no, seriously, I can't do it. And they're like, come on, just smoke one bowl with us, and if you don't like it, then you can just quit anytime.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, all right, I guess so.
Yeah, because there was only 3 of them, and they needed a 4th. Because one person's the dungeon master. Oh, sorry, the maze controller.
Maze controller,
which is so dumb.
Who's the maze comptroller?
Who's the maze district attorney?
Yeah.
And
Superintendent of Mazes.
that's good. I like that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they only had the MC.
Yeah.
The Maze controller, the MC. That's
pretty
fun.
good.
That's fun. And 2 players, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Which I'm assuming, given the context, was like, oh, if you play this campaign with only 2 people, you're fucked. Like, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they needed a third.
Yeah.
In order to actually have a chance of surviving.
And to be fair, the campaign was very hard because there was a point where a character just jumped into a pit and died because it was a trap.
It was actually like there is a pit, but you also see something glittering inside. It could be treasure or it could be a trap. And then one of the characters was like, "I leap in. How much treasure do I find?" And it's just like, it was a trap. You fall and you're impaled on glittering, like, gem spikes. You're dead. I was like, wow, that was not even a roll involved.
Idiot, JJ, you should have used your sonar.
Oh, yeah, like...
Before jumping. Why would you do something so stupid?
Which is...
I mean, I got the feeling that, like, he did that on purpose. Like, he knew his character was going to die.
There was a bit of that, too. Yeah, he was in a mood.
Yeah, because his whole thing is... the character JJ, his character trope is that he wears hats.
Oh my god.
He's got different hats. Cowboy hat.
The first time we see him, he's wearing like a
German World War I military hat.
Yeah, with like the spike on
top. He's got a
it's
a
not
hard
fantasy. Yeah, and then we see him next time we see him, he's in a big cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Like a 10-gallon hat. And then we see him in a construction hat.
He's got like a pork pie hat.
Yeah, we see him in like a safari hat.
Yeah. That's his character, is that he wears goofy hats.
Which is wild.
So dumb.
Which is absolutely wild.
So funny, but he's the one that wants to play the most. He's always like, come on, guys, let's play. And they're like, no, like, we have class. He's like come on. Like, what about tomorrow? I'm like, no, we also have class. Like, we can't play. And he's like, oh, my God. Nobody's free to play today. Nobody's free to play tomorrow. I'm going to kill myself.
That is actually the we don't know how like serious he was about that thought, but
but he like talks it out. He's like, I want to kill myself and I want everyone to remember me. I know. I'll go out to the caves that are abandoned that we're not allowed to go to, and that's where I'm going to kill myself. And then everyone will remember me as the guy that killed himself in the cave.
Yep.
And then he goes to the cave.
Yeah.
And he's there and he's like wandering around, maybe looking for a place to do it.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, he's like, what if we just played the game in here? This is actually pretty cool.
Right, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. Yeah, his character dies when he just jumps into the pit.
Yeah.
And then he's dead, and everyone's like, well, shit. And then, like, the MC is like, well, we still have this campaign to play. And the other player's like, well, it's not as fun now. It's not the same because this character that we've been traveling with the whole time is dead.
Yeah, and he's going to have to start at level 1, and we're level 9, and, like, it's kind of ruined.
Your hands are tied.
Yeah.
Which is so silly to think about now, because, like, why would you ever just kill someone's character for making a single choice? And why wouldn't you just let a player start at the same level as everyone else, because it's a game, and it's meant to be fun. But anyway, I have a lot of feelings about that.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, I guess there's things that were like, they're like, I climb to the highest tower in the tallest castle, and I jump out the window. It's like, okay, do you want to do anything to try and stop your fall? Nope. Okay, well, you're dead then.
I would ask at the point, do you kill yourself? Because then it's them killing themselves.
Yeah.
It's out of my hands. Right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But this very, very much felt like the Dungeon Master were like, oh, you're dead. Like, could have changed it, or could have called for a roll. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you're like, all right, you got to cross a pit of alligators on a tightrope, you know, and the guy's like, well, I'm just going to try and jump in, actually, and get the goblet, you know, without going to the other side and getting the magic reaching stick.
I should write this down.
You have to be like, okay, well, roll to see if you land in an alligator's mouth.
Yeah. You heard me say that there are a lot of alligators, right? Like, the danger's been telegraphed.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, he springs a trap, so it's kind of like, he did warn him that it could be a trap. But you're right. It's kind of
Yeah.
how much damage does the trap do? I guess all of it.
Yeah, it does all damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus old school D&D was actually way more brutal in that respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so he dies and then the game kind of falls apart because of that, and that's when he suggests that they amp it up. They play mazes and monsters in a more sophisticated way, which was part of his pitch, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting. The choice of the word sophisticated.
He invents LARPing, basically.
Yeah, it's 100% what he does. He's like, let's dress up as our characters and go play in an actual fantasy cave, in an actual cave, and that'll be our game. And yeah, that's LARPing.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
So he's off hiding somewhere in the cave, and he's like rigged up like a skeleton to jump out at them and stuff, and
That's right, yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And then, but then every now and then it'll be like, oh, there's a monster appears.
Yeah, which was
it's a Gorvax or whatever.
something like that. Yeah.
And then that's when Tom Hanks's character has a slight break from reality, and he starts seeing the monster coming at him, and he kills it with his sword in character and all that kind
But
of
like
stuff.
also like fully starts screaming because he
Yeah.
actually sees it in his mind.
But from that point on, he's like stuck in that character.
Yep.
Like he breaks up with his girlfriend because his character is a holy man and he has to remain celibate.
Yep.
And he also starts seeing visions of the Great Hall, which is his brother. His brother's name is Hall.
Yeah, so we learned he starts dating this girl who's Kate,
Kate,
one of the players in the game, and then the last character's named Daniel. Just so we've said all the character names, because I actually remembered them.
Right,
I often
yeah.
don't remember people's names in movies we watch, but I remembered them all.
Dan, Kate, JJ, and Robbie.
Robbie, yeah, that's
Robbie's Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So yeah, he confides in Kate that like when he was younger, I don't actually know how young. I don't remember how long ago it was, but like his brother Hall, weird name. We definitely thought it was Paul for like more than half of the movie until we saw it in writing, and we're like, that's what they've been saying.
It's like Hall and Oates.
It's like Hall and Oates.
His brother is Daryl Hall.
Oh, so his brother Daryl.
Yeah.
The great Daryl Hall.
There are some who call me Tim.
That's a good movie.
Oh, great and mighty Tim. Yeah. Same vibes.
Yeah, same vibes. But yeah, so his brother, they like had a birthday party for him, and his birthday is on Halloween, which sucks. That's a Rob.
So metal.
It's super metal, yeah. So occult.
Yeah. Well, you can always convince people to have a party, though. I feel like if your birthday was on Halloween, actually, you get like a lot more mileage out of having like a big party.
But I feel like you could have a birthday party and then also a Halloween party if your birthday was not on Halloween.
I guess so, but I feel like people are less inclined as you get older to go to like birthday parties. Like I felt like a holdout for a long time because I like having a birthday party for myself.
I think the last time I was at a birthday party, it was for your birthday.
And I would like, I would like throw myself a birthday party.
Yeah.
And then like eventually just like less and less people would come, and I'd be like, all right, I guess people have lives and stuff, and like
There's that.
celebrating your birthday when you're like in your 30s is just like not a thing you do with a huge group, I guess, really anymore.
I mean, I do not. Like, I absolutely think that you could.
I think you could too.
I just would never do it for myself.
It's just, I think it gets harder.
Yeah.
You gotta give people more notice and
Yeah.
do something that actually entices people. Or it's gotta be a big milestone. Like that's when I think you can start doing like, all right, when you turn 40, you can do a big one.
Yeah.
When you turn 50, you can do a big one, 55, you can go to Denny's, order from the seniors menu. Big deal.
Very big deal.
It's a big deal.
I'll never do that.
Yeah, you can't eat there.
Yeah, I can't.
Don't
eat
do
shit
it.
there. Yeah.
Which is too bad because the seniors menu looks good.
Does it?
Usually when I go to Denny's, I'm like, fuck, actually, I want that. That's the thing I want. That looks actually kind of healthy.
Go figure.
I want an egg white omelet with spinach and feta cheese and cherry tomatoes.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But they're like, how about we give you all the meats and cheddar cheese scrambled eggs and hash browns and 4 pancakes. You better eat it all, or else we'll kill you. Welcome to Denny's. In America, motherfucker. Eat your pancakes.
Yikes.
We'll fucking kill you.
Denny's is a scary place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your cholesterol ain't nearly high enough, boy.
Butter up that bacon.
Here's a glass of the bacon grease we saved from when we made your breakfast.
Bacon grease milkshake.
They did have a bacon milkshake.
Oh,
It had
of
like
course
chunks of
they
bacon
did.
in it. Yeah.
Oh, of course they did.
Maple bacon milkshake or something like that. Yeah, never tried it. But
Gross.
yeah. So anyways, he starts to lose his grip on reality.
Yeah.
His brother.
Oh, right. That's what we were talking about.
his
His brother. His brother, it was his birthday. It was Halloween. And he fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
And then they never got a note, never got a postcard, nothing. He just disappeared. Never seen him. But earlier, at some point earlier before his disappearance, Hall talked about really wanting to be able to go to New York. But couldn't afford it. But his brother, Robbie, played by Tom Hanks, America's father, had some money and decided to give it to him. And so he thinks that his brother fucking left without saying a word to go to New York, and only could because he had given him his money.
Right. Yep.
Which seems to be the source of all his trauma.
Yeah. He feels guilty for giving his brother the means to run away.
And like there has to be more story there that we just don't know about because it seems weak.
Was he murdered? Did he change his name? Was he kidnapped? Did he die of an overdose?
And like why did he want to go to New York without saying a word to anyone? Was his home life like really bad or
was
something?
he in trouble with the mob?
That would have been could have been the mob.
Who knows?
I hadn't thought about that. Could have been the mob.
But yeah, so he starts getting these visions of like, you've got to reach the 2 towers, and you've got to do.
You have to be wholly inside and out.
Yeah.
Which means no more fucking.
Yeah, dump your girlfriend. Then you got to get to the 2 towers. And he's like drawing maps, of, like the Great Hall and the 2 towers, and basically his plan is he goes to New York, and his plan is he's got to find the 2 towers and jump off of them.
Yeah.
and then he'll use some magic spells to reach the Great Hall somehow.
Yeah, like he already dreamed about his brother all the time.
Yeah.
But then once he kind of got stuck in his character, which was Pardieu, the priest.
Yeah, the holy
man. And so he's having dreams about being at the end of a tunnel, and there's some figure at the end who's the Great Hall, was his brother. And telling him to come to the 2 towers, and that he's got to be holy, and like he has to wait for the sign or something like that. And then on Halloween, so he's fully triggered at that point.
Yeah.
He just like has a dream and then like wakes up with the voice in his head. It's time. And then he, probably very much like his brother did, now that I think about it, got up and left. He didn't take his wallet. He didn't change his clothes. He didn't lock his door.
Yeah, he just went
walked
to New
out.
York somehow.
He just walked to New York. I don't know if we knew where the setting was.
It must not have been too far from New York.
I would think so.
They get there pretty quickly. It's probably like upstate New York is where the college is.
Probably.
Or like just a little bit outside, because they seem to be in the country a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not very metropolitan.
Yeah.
So they're in some sort of suburb of New York, probably.
Yeah.
So he walks there. Probably takes him a good day or so to get there.
Probably.
And
he's just kind of in a trance. He's on his holy quest.
He's wandering around. Some guys try to mug him, and he thinks he envisions them being a monster, and ends up stabbing one of them.
Yeah, which was very confusing. Ultimately, like they go to him. One of them like asks him like what's in his pouch, and of course he responds, my spells.
Yeah.
And then they try to take it from him, and he runs, but then he runs into an alley and he's cornered, and then one of the two starts approaching, and then he kind of like starts to see it as a monster. It is exactly the same monster that was in the cavern.
Yeah, they only got one suit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was a budget problem, I think.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But yeah, he has like this kind of costume jeweled dagger that, like, when they dressed up for their LARPing, he had.
Yeah.
And we also saw it like in his dorm room when he was working on this maze map thing, which I don't actually know what the fuck that was. It was a real thing, and we see him holding that between him and the person, and like moving to try to stab him, and then the person lunges at him and then like moves back, clutching their side, and he's just like straight up holding a hunting knife.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is I'd have to go back and watch it again, which I won't. But I'd have to go back and look and see if we ever see that dagger when he's in the presence of the other players, or if it's only when he's off by himself. Because when he gets attacked by the monster, he's alone by himself in the cave.
Yeah,
And when he's working on his map, he's alone in his dorm room.
that's true.
You know, so I'm like, maybe he didn't actually have that.
You think that this movie is that intelligent?
Maybe.
To have thought of that and not verbally express it?
Yes, because otherwise I feel like he would have just used that knife. I don't understand the reason for him having like a fold out hunting knife otherwise.
I also don't understand the reason of him having that at all. I don't know. I feel like that costumed dagger was real.
Maybe. Like I said, I would have to go back and check if he ever uses it in the presence of the others, but the main points that I remember him having it is only whenever he's by himself. And so it's like
it is the dagger he uses to slay the monster in the cavern.
So it's like from his perspective we're seeing it as that, and maybe he just always had the hunting knife as his prop.
Maybe.
Yeah,
so he fucking stabs that guy, and then runs away.
Yeah, and that's enough to like break him out of the trance.
Yeah, we kind of like sees his reflection in some glass.
Yeah,
which I feel like you would have seen your reflection in some glass earlier,
probably
walking around a city like New York City. But yeah, he sees
the
that
combination
of having killed someone and holding a knife and having his hands covered in blood.
Yeah, because he says he's got blood on his knife and on his hands.
Yeah.
So anyways, he calls Kate because he's been like snapped out of it for a second. He's like, I'm in New York. I don't know how I got here. I got blood on my knife and on my hands. I think I killed somebody.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, all right. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to JJ's mom's house. It's, this is the address. We're gonna meet you there right away. Go straight there. We're coming right away. We're gonna come get you.
Yeah. And at this point too, his three friends, have definitely noticed that he's gone.
Yeah,
and they've
that's right. They've gone to the police.
Yeah, they like first called his parents, and he wasn't there, and then they ended up talking to the police about it, and then they decided, like, they were really worried that because they had seen him starting to get stuck in his character, that he had gone back to the caves and gotten lost and or died in there.
Yeah.
So they go to the caves, they clean out all of their mazes and monsters stuff, all of their LARPing shit.
Yeah.
And then call the police and say that he was into mazes and monsters, but we don't really know anything about that shit. And that's really when we get the first kind of taste of the satanic panic in a really weird, stupid way.
Mm-hmm.
Where like they tell a cop that they're worried that he's in the caves, and then they're interviewed one by one by a detective who like comes to the conclusion that like, oh, he played Mazes and Monsters. Well, obviously one of the people he played with went crazy and murdered him.
Yeah.
In the caves. So he's dead in the cave somewhere because someone murdered him because they play Mazes and Monsters together.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did you get that logic from? Because we've literally just been seeing 4 friends sitting around a very small table with way too many candles. But I get it. Ambiance is important.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fire hazard, though. You're in a dorm room.
Definitely. But that also I think is kind of adding to the like they want it to appear as like an evil thing.
I guess, but like it didn't
know.
work on me. It's been very clearly just friends playing a game, having fun,
Oh yeah, for sure. But
and there's just something mentally wrong with Robbie.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah, but I think that's more to like appeal to the audience of like, oh, they light all the candles and they're doing like this, they're playing in the dark and candlelight and they're doing this like dark ritual of
Candles
this
are
evil,
very occult.
this evil game kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. But it really just came out of left field with this like law professional, or sorry, police man.
Yeah. Detective?
Detective, that's the word. Jeez, what the?
Was he even a police detective or was he like a PI?
I thought he was a detective, but I
He
guess
must
we don't actually
He
know.
must have been a police detective,
I
actually.
think
Yeah. Why
so.
would they have a PI? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that he's just like, oh, obviously he was murdered by someone else who plays this game with him.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And then of course they'd search the caves and don't find him.
No.
And then
Because he's in New York.
yeah, and then the detective's like, I hate to say it, kids, but your friend's dead. Or he's not in the caves. But if he's in the caves, he's dead. And it's like, wow.
It's like verbatim dialogue.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
We're like, what the fuck? Like, useless.
Yeah.
Useless police.
It's like either way, I'm not doing anything about it.
basically, yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, so she gets the call and she gathers Daniel and JJ and they drive off to New York to JJ's house where the doorman is like, I'm sorry, Mr. JJ. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
Nobody's arrived for you.
Sorry, because on his way to JJ's mom's house, Robbie sees just like two men, and one of them was wearing a leather jacket or something.
Yeah.
But then just like gets a flashback of those two who
Of
tried
the
to mug him.
muggers, Yeah.
But when those two mugged him, he wasn't Robbie. He was Pardue.
Yeah.
And so then he triggered again, flips.
Yeah.
And runs away from them and runs straight down into the subway and into a maintenance tunnel
Yeah.
and gets lost in the actual maze beneath New York City.
Yeah, where he runs into a homeless man that's camped out down there.
Oh yeah, and
he's like
introduces himself, right, as like,
yeah, he's like, I'm Pardue, I'm a holy man. And then the homeless man's like, well, I'm the king of France. And he's like, oh, your majesty.
and he like slowly bows.
yeah, like bows to him and stuff, and the homeless man's kind of like, all right.
Homeless Man was probably the best character in the movie. Let's be
And
real.
he's like, I've heard the dragon roaring above us. And the homeless man's like, oh, don't go up there. You don't want to let them know that you're up there. You stay down here. They don't come down here.
Otherwise, they'll cook you out.
Talking about transit authority,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously.
But then he's like, I need to get to the two towers. Like, oh, yeah, I know where those are.
Yeah.
The biggest, tallest buildings in New York. Yes, I can point you in that direction for sure.
Absolutely.
And then his friends are sitting around going over his map and stuff like that.
And when they read the two towers, they think of Tolkien.
Yeah, they're thinking Lord of the Rings, right? And
Yeah.
then something happens. I don't remember what.
Oh, it was, the bird Merlin. So JJ has a bird.
Yes.
I forget what kind of bird it is. He said it at one point, and I didn't recognize it. But it is a bird that can talk. And so it says things. Which in the scene with the detective, when
Yeah.
he's interviewing JJ, he sees the bird and asks him, "Oh, what kind of bird is that?" And that's when JJ says the name of the bird. I don't remember. And then the policeman asks, "Does he talk?" To which the bird responds, "Birds don't talk." Which I found so
It's
funny.
so good. It's such a good
If
joke.
you could train a bird to talk, that's one of the funniest things that you could train it. Oh,
Yeah.
does it talk? Birds don't talk.
Birds don't talk. And
But while they're like figuring this out, JJ brought Merlin with them because Merlin is good luck, apparently. But he keeps saying, "Happy Halloween."
yeah.
And then that's what triggers the memory for Kate that his brother disappeared on Halloween. That was a big problem for him. But she doesn't, and they're in New York, right? Which is where his brother had wanted to go. And then it's like, oh, we're in New York. This has to do with his brother, on Halloween, New York, the two towers. She finally makes the connection.
Yeah, like, it's not the two towers, it's the twin towers.
the
I think
twin
it's
towers.
JJ actually that makes the connection.
Was it JJ?
Yeah, he's like, I've been thinking about the book, but we're in New York. It's not the two towers, it's the twin towers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We
that's
got to
right.
go to the World Trade Center.
Yep.
And then they go and they see him there, and this
Really long.
really long, boring,
Chase scene?
slow chase scene happens. Where
Yeah, like they arrive and they're like, okay, let's go up to the observation deck, and then Robbie arrives in the lobby,
yeah,
and they're like, okay, where is he? He's not at the observation deck, so they go all the way back to the lobby while he's going up.
yeah, and
But
then
then
they,
they, like,
they
yeah.
see him on an upper level, and like, oh shit, there he is. Turn around, let's
Yeah,
go.
We gotta go, and then they try to find him, and then an elevator door closes in front of him just as they arrive, and then they go up to the observation deck again, and he's still not there, and it's like really monotonous.
Yeah, and there's like a thing that says like escalator closed or whatever,
Oh yeah,
or roof closed.
roof closed. Yeah,
And there's like a staircase, and I'm like, all right, so like when are they gonna go up there? Because that's obviously where
gonna
they need to
happen.
go.
Yeah.
They run past that thing twice.
Yep.
And never, same shot probably, and they never go up there. But then they hear an alarm go off, and they're like, oh shit, like that's an alarm, like a door opened, and then they can see like there's a door closing that says like emergency exit only or whatever, or authorized personnel or something like that.
Something like
And
that.
Alarm will sound basically, right? And so then they open the door and run up to the roof, where they find him about to jump off.
Oh, yeah, and they've been calling his name this whole time, and he hasn't been responding.
Yeah,
And so
so
as they get there, as he's like putting his foot up on the railing, and JJ
Yeah.
calls Pardue, and then he stops and turns around.
yeah, and they basically have to use like the rules of the game to talk him down. Where he's like, you can't jump, like you're gonna die, and he's like, no, I have spells, I'll fly, and he's like, you don't have enough points
I'm the maze
to
controller.
use those spells. Yeah, I have absolute authority here. You need to come down. And then that's when he kind of starts to realize, like, oh, like wait, game points, it's a game. And then he realizes he doesn't now have any memory of how he got there, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the famous scene. I don't know why I've seen it. I guess I've seen it memed or something. But it's
Yeah.
just him in that moment going, "What am I doing here?"
JJ, what am I doing here? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it ends on this like kind of like weird melancholy note.
Oh God, yeah. So yeah, he breaks down there on the roof, and then they all go and hug, and
Yeah.
then it cuts to 3 months later,
Yeah.
and it's Kate and Daniel and JJ driving in a car together, giving us a little bit of exposition where like the next semester's starting soon, and they wish that Robbie was coming back to school with them, but he's not.
Yeah.
But it's because his mom says that he needs to keep seeing that doctor. And so we're like, great, he's getting help. That's fantastic. And then they go to his house, his parents' house, and the mom sees them and is like, just so you know, I don't blame any of you. And I was like, no shit, lady. Like, what the fuck did this have to do with them? Like,
Yeah.
well, just because I don't blame any of you for playing a game with my son.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, get off.
So dumb.
And says like he's around back, and so they go around back to see him, and they greet him, and it's fucking Pardue.
Yeah, he's still stuck in character.
Which like 3 months later, he has been seeing a doctor. Is he not getting any fucking help? Also, Mom, you could have prepared them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, he's still stuck in his character. Heads up, that's gonna be traumatic for you to see.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, he's still in character. He thinks that he's staying at an inn, and that his parents are the innkeepers.
yep.
They
They live by a lake, and so it's a mystical, enchanted lake.
yeah.
He's
and then,
seen the spirits dancing on it in the evening. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah, and then they go into the woods to play the game one last time.
Yeah, it's like there's the enchanted forest beyond the mystical lake, and there's like some like, do you know of it? And they're all obviously all very depressed to see that he is not better. And then like eventually Daniel's like, yeah, I've heard of it. And then JJ's like, yeah, I'm the maze controller. This is what's in there. Let's go do it. and then there's like it's a faraway shot of them walking towards the forest, and it's a bit of voiceover wrapping up things by Kate, who's like, so we went into the forest and there were a lot of monsters. Robbie was the only one who could see them. We could not see the monsters because they weren't real.
Yeah.
And we fought them. We played until the sun set and all the monsters were dead. And that was the last time we ever played.
Yeah.
And that was our hope dying and us losing our friend forever.
Yeah.
Roll credits.
Yeah. And I think that is kind of where the Satanic Panic, like, element of it really takes over, where they're like, oh, okay, we need to make this like a cautionary tale of like, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you will go crazy and die.
Yeah, like, it was, wow, just like so brutal.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah. It's a pretty bad movie. It's on YouTube for free if you want to watch it.
Oh, yeah, that's where we did it.
Go ahead. I won't stop you. I'd advise against it, but I won't stop you.
It's not recommended.
Yeah. Do you want to give your review? I mean, I think everyone knows what.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very obviously one big pile of shit.
It is one big pile of shit for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just no. There was one really good laugh, and that was the birds don't talk.
Birds don't talk. Yep, that was good. It holds a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes.
19. Okay, yeah.
It's pretty low.
I was gonna guess 12, but okay.
Certainly not the lowest reviewed thing we've ever done on here, but
Nope.
yeah, I agree with you. It is one big pile of shit.
Yeah.
And I also agree with you. I think leaning into the satanic element of it might have made it more interesting,
Probably.
while also making it more annoying
Yeah.
to watch as a viewer and someone who enjoys playing D&D.
Yeah.
I think leaning into the like, oh, when they play D&D, they're doing evil magic shit. That's like actually put on screen what every parent fears. You know,
Yeah.
what every concerned parent is scared of happening when their kid plays D&D. They're like, oh, they're getting sucked into the occult and they're doing dark magic, and that would have been way more interesting. I mean, you don't even have to have it be like, oh, they're doing actual magic, but it could just be like they're pretending to do magic, and then maybe that magic goes a little too far, and they start, sacrificing stray cats or something. Like, I don't know, like
That would have been dark.
would have been fucked up, right?
Yep.
And like that would have been the kind of thing that like parents in the 80s would have been afraid of, probably.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But instead, it's like a kind of a slightly over the top take on someone who's suffering with trauma and some other sort of dissociative mental condition.
Yeah, because when he snaps out of being Pardue, he does not remember.
Yeah. He's completely disassociating.
Yeah.
So, he's got, PTSD and some other kind of mental health concern, mental health disorder. And it's slightly over the top, but it's like way more fucking grounded than like what think people were actually afraid of, and like it's really hard to blame the game
Yeah.
in this movie. It's like, oh no, he needs therapy.
Yeah. 100%.
Like he's using escapism to deal with the trauma of losing his brother and the guilt that he feels for giving his brother the means to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, oh no, Satan is causing them to go nuts. Like that would have been more interesting and campier probably, and therefore I think might have made it more fun.
Potentially.
Like to the point where like, oh, maybe this is craptacular, but like as it is now, it's just kind of sad.
Is just sad.
Sad and lame.
Yeah.
Like it's not very well made.
No.
Tom Hanks, you can't even say like, oh yes, you can see like the brilliance of Tom Hanks. he's destined to be a star. Like,
No, you just see, JJ, what am I doing here?
yeah,
Yeah. It's bad.
it's pretty bad. But hey, it is what it is.
Is what it is.
We will track down every Dungeons and Dragons related thing at some point and watch it.
Oh, no.
Was this worse than the actual Dungeons and Dragons movie from like 2000?
Ooh, the Jeremy Irons?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we gave that a bad rating,
Oh yeah.
but I still look back on it kind of laughing a bit. Like,
For sure.
blood rain from the sky.
Oh yeah, that's
You know?
that's classic.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I have a soft spot for that movie because I watched it so many times on like cable.
Amazing.
It was like for whatever TBS had it on like Sunday afternoons all the time, and so like I would go to church when I was a kid, and then afterwards we would go to my Oma's house, my grandmother's house, for lunch. And after lunch, I would go. She had a TV in her bedroom, and my dad would usually sit there and watch golf with
Oh, good.
my Opa. They would sit there and watch golf together, and I'm like, well, this is the most boring thing ever. And so I would go and see what was on TV, and if MXC wasn't on,
Oh gosh.
then usually I would flip over to TBS, and Dungeons and Dragons would be on TV.
That's wild.
And so I probably saw that movie like 20 times
That's ridiculous.
in pieces
Yeah.
on TBS.
Cable television.
On cable television on Sunday afternoons.
Wild.
So there's like a little bit of like nostalgia there for me, but I think this is worse.
I think it is.
I think it's
yeah.
the worst movie.
Also, fun fact: there was one very obvious edit for commercials in the movie that you pointed out. Like, oh, kids these days will have no idea why that weird edit is there.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like, oh, right. Why would they? Like,
Yeah, I listened to someone on a podcast talking about watching the original Transformers with his son, and his son going like, how come it keeps like fading to black and then it fades for like 1 second, then it fades back in, and they say the same line that they just said 2 seconds ago, but like slightly different.
It would be so confusing without context. Yeah, it's silly. So interesting. It's like when you
It's like 'cause
when
you
you
just
have
watched
your
4 minutes of cereal commercials, and now we need to remind you of what was happening.
Yeah, it's like when you use your thumb and your pinky as a fake phone that you're
Yeah.
talking into, and how kids these days don't know that that's supposed to be a phone because this isn't a phone. You know, you have to hold your
Yeah.
smartphone like with your fingers opposite your thumb. That's what holding a phone is.
This is holding a phone.
This is talking on a phone. This makes
Yeah.
no sense.
Yeah, for viewers or listeners, he's doing the hang loose thumb and pinky
Yeah.
surfer gesture, but to your ear.
What's a dinosaur that does this? I keep forgetting what it's called.
Iguanodon.
Oh, that's exactly it. Thank you.
Yeah.
You big nerd. I love you. The iguanodon with a thumb spike.
The other
It's
thing
for shanking.
yeah,
It's dope as
the
hell.
other thing I watched 5,000 times in a row was Walking with Dinosaurs,
Oh,
narrated
hell
by
yes.
Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, fuck yes.
Have you seen? Do you have Apple TV Plus?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you watched Prehistoric Planet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's David Attenborough.
Oh,
so
okay.
like Planet Earth,
Yeah.
right? But it's like a dinosaur nature show.
Cool.
It's awesome
Sweet.
because like Des and I went back and rewatched Walking with Dinosaurs. Still great, but the CGI
Oh, of course.
is from 1998.
Yeah. That's
And
pretty
the
weak.
CGI in Prehistoric Planet is fucking crazy.
Cool.
It's so good.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
I like dinosaurs.
yeah.
It's like the gateway nerd obsession when you're a kid and you like
A little bit,
dinosaurs. Yeah.
I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was a kid.
That's fucking dope. I just wanted to be a stegosaurus, but you know.
Well, neither of us achieved our dreams, did we?
No.
No.
And now we're 30.
Stegosaurus is a good call, though. It's a good dinosaur.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got that dope ass tail.
You know what's weird about dinosaurs? I'm
What's
going on a totally different tangent right now, but like,
100%.
talking about like Stegosaurus,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like another dinosaur that I know about from playing Jurassic World Evolution,
Nice.
called like Kentosaurus,
That rings a
or
bell.
something like that, and it's like a Stegosaurus, but I guess it's just like slightly smaller,
It's the pre-evolution.
maybe. I don't know. That was a Pokemon joke.
Yes.
I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I mean, in the game, they make him a different color, right? Like it's yellow instead of green.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, it's like slightly different spines on its back, or like slightly different arrangement of tail spikes. And I'm always kind of just like, how do they like? Why do they think this is like completely different? Like, is it different enough
I mean, it must be.
that they're like, oh, this is a totally new species, or is it like,
That was a baby.
this is a teenager one? Like this one was only like a year old or whatever, so it wasn't fully grown.
Weird.
There's so much that they
Yeah,
just
would they find like a baby Tyrannosaurus Rex and be like, "Oh, what dinosaur is this? It's not that big."
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Strange. I don't understand how paleontology is supposed to work. I mean, I understand it's a lot of hypothesis and theory.
It kind of has to be, yeah.
Kind of has to be at this point.
Is that why you wanted to be one so bad? Because you didn't know what the fuck was up with the Cantosaurus?
Kinda. Well, yeah. No, I mean, I just thought it would be cool to I just thought dinosaurs were cool.
Yeah, fair.
Digging up dinosaur bones seemed fun. Now it just seems like a lot of work. They're sweaty and in the desert most of the time and sweating, being hot, dirty, sweaty and gross. All the sweat and dirt.
What if it was just in like a temperate climate? Would it then be fine?
I guess so. I mean,
You seem really hung up on the sweat.
you're still doing a lot of work, though. You still probably get pretty sweaty.
I'd imagine so, yeah. It's still.
Still there with a hammer, just like hammering into rocks and stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Anyways, this is not important. I can probably cut all this out, eh?
It's up to you. Up to you. You're the editor.
All right. Well, that wraps things up for us this month on the Retro Crap Show. linktr.ee/retrocrappod has all the links that we talked about earlier.
Hell yeah.
If you want to reach out to the show, that's how you can do it. And well, yeah, I don't know. When we're back next month, we'll watch something else.
That's the plan.
I'll try to find something better. I'll try not to subject us to another Mazes and Monsters. But you know what? I'm glad we did it,
Me too.
because it means we don't have to do it again.
Ever.
Yeah, it's in the past now.
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. So until next time, keep watching crap.